everyone, it is me, Tara, coming to you from thecraftsurgeons.com. Thanks for joining me today for another video tutorial in my series, One Stamp, 3 Cards. So this series features 3 cards using one stamp set that I pick out of any of our current publications. And these cards are geared towards 3 levels of crafters or stampers or scrapbookers, whoever you are, if you are watching this and you love to create. So the first one is our beginner stamper. The second is our casual stamper, and then we have our Avid stamper. Okay, so all 3 cards focus on those 3 levels. So each one, we're going to start off with the beginner, the basics with the stamp, ink, and paper, and then we're going to step our way up through some more techniques and increase in like embellishing and layers and all that good stuff. Okay, so with that, today's video, we are going to feature a beautiful set in our new 2019 occasions catalog. This is one of my favorites. Oh my gosh, I knew at first sight, like it's like walking across the street and you see the love of your life, right? So at first sight, I knew this was going to be one of the stamp sets on my purchase. Okay, so it is called the All That You Are stamp set. Oh, and I think it's because I could just see so many possibilities with this stamp set. And let me list off a few for you. So this set, I think, is really versatile. Oh my goodness, you can do so many things. So as you can see here, we're doing some Stampin' blend coloring. I probably could have did some watercoloring today, but I'll save that for another day. But you can watercolor the images in this set. You can do markering. As you can see here, we're doing some Stampin' blend coloring. You can do some embossing. You can even do brush work with this bad boy. Like it's beautiful. It is so beautiful. I've been playing around with this quite a bit, so at the end of this video I am going to show you some additional inspiration, some cards that I created, you know, just because, and for swaps and all that good stuff. Okay, so stay tuned for that. But for this particular video, we are going to be creating these 3 cards for 3 different levels. So the first we have is a beginner card. Okay, this is really simple. It just uses stamp, ink, and paper or cardstock. Oh my gosh, it's really easy to create this card. Then we're going to step it up a little notch, and then we are going to do a little bit of background stamping. We're going to do some Stampin' blend coloring. We're adding we're doing some layer work here. I mean, we did a little bit of layer work here, and then we're going to add a little ribbon, which is some embellishments. Okay, and then on our 3rd card, we're going to do we're gonna add a few more layers. I don't know if you can tell, but there's some vellum on this card. We have some die cutting going on, so of course you're going to need your big shot. And we do have some Stampin' blend coloring and that good stuff. Okay, and more embellishing. Okay, more bling. I love bling. All right, so with that, like I said, we are using the All That You Are stamp set. There are a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's a total of 9 stamps in this stamp set, and it is one of our new cling stamps. Okay, so for those of you who aren't aware, Stampin' Up is getting rid of our clear mount stamps. That's solely because the stickers that you apply with the clear mounts, they don't adhere very well to our acrylic blocks. So they have formulated a new type of sticker that sticks like crazy, and now they're called cling stamps. Okay, those are our rubber, our new style of rubber, and the wood mount is going away, just FYI, at some point. Okay, so be ready for that. All right, so this is the stamp set. So where can you find this stamp set, Tara? I'm glad you guys asked. So if you're looking at our 2019 occasions catalog on page 2 and page 3, you will find the stamp set in all of its beauty, along with, on page 3, 2 additional samples that use this beautiful set. It also gives you an introduction on our new cling stamps as well. Okay, so very, very gorgeous stamp set. This is where you can find it in our catalog. Speaking of where can you find stuff, if you have any questions regarding any of those supplies that we're using today, and you would like to place a purchase, first off, thank you for your business. I greatly appreciate it. And second off, I will have everything linked down in the description box below. Okay, there will be measurements down there. There will be links for each individual item that will take you straight to my online store where you can place an order. Remember, if you place an order, that's $50 before shipping and tax, you get to pick a free celebration item, because this is the time when celebration is going on. Oh my goodness. Exciting. So more bang for your buck. But I have also included down below a link to my website as well, thecraftsergeant.com, with a coordinating blog post that has more where you can see photos and more information on the cards that we're creating today. Okay, other than that, let's go ahead and let me stop talking, and let's go ahead, and I know you're ready for this. We're gonna get stamped. All right, okay, so this is the first card that we're going to create. It is really simple, really pretty card too. This is geared towards a beginner, and it says happy birthday, which is awesome. So I always need happy birthday cards. So with this card, you're going to need the following. I don't know if you guys noticed as I was showing you guys the projects, but you might have noticed that all of the cards have the same color scheme. We're using basic gray, pool party, and whisper white for all of these cards. I do that on purpose so that way you're not getting confused. I'm not throwing too many products at you guys at the same time. Okay, so just so you know. But this particular card, we're using basic gray for the classic Stampin' pad. So that's going to be the ink we're using. For cardstock, we're going to use a piece of thick whisper white. This cardstock is just half a piece of 8.5 by 11 sheet cardstock. Okay, thick whisper white. All you do is cut hamburger style. So you just cut it in half, and then you score it in half as well. So that's the 4 1/4 inch mark. Okay, so this measures 8.5 by 5.5, and it's scored at 4 1/4. Okay, so thick whisper white. We have a piece of basic gray, and this measures, I wrote it on here, I can't see it. Yeah, because my eyes are very, very bad right now. I don't know what's going on. It's a reflection. 3 3/4 inch by 5 inches. Okay, so that's this piece. Then you're going to need a piece of whisper white that measures 3.5 inches by 4 3/4 inch. And then you're going to need a little sliver of pool party, which is the other color that's in our color scheme. This is 1 inch by 2 1/4 inches. Okay, and this is going to be for our happy birthday banner. Simple enough, right? Really easy. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to fold our card base at our score line. We're going to use our bone folder to crease it to make sure it stays flat, or as flat as possible. And then we're going to sit our card base to the side, and we're going to go ahead and do our stamping. So since this is a clear mount stamp set, a cling stamp or a rubber stamp, we do not need any sort of foam mat to go underneath it. So we can just stamp it straight on whatever surface we have. So I'm just going to ink it up. Since it's a bigger stamp, what I like to do is I like to take the ink to the stamp versus the stamp to the ink, so I can make sure that it gets a great, really good coverage. Okay, then we're going to stamp this in the lower right corner, but I'm not going to stamp the full image onto the project. Okay, I'm going to try to get it mostly, but it's going to kind of like overlap a little bit off of the cardstock. So I'm going to just place that little guy down like that, apply some pressure on there, not a lot of pressure. Boom, just like that. Isn't that pretty? Then there's this other cute little image in that set. There's like a little leaf with some little bulbs on it. I'm going to stamp those little guys right down here. I'm going to fill in all of that empty white space. Just like that. And then there is a little leaf, which I actually put back into the case. Boop. Put him on there. And then I'm going to stamp him on here as well. I stamped it like once or twice. Let's do it right here. Boom, just like that. Yep, that's pretty cool. I wonder if I should do one on the other side. Let's see here. Let's see if I can get this down here. Boop, just like that. It looks a little confusing, but whatever. All right, so that's it for that. Why am I closing my ink pad? I don't know. All right, so now we're going to take the happy birthday, ink that little guy up, and then we're going to stamp it kind of like right in the center of our piece of pool party. That's all of our stamping that we're doing for this card. We're going to close up our ink pad to avoid any accidents, and then we're going to take our paper snips and we're going to create a flag. You could use, if you are an avid stamper or a beginner stamper and you purchased it, you could use the triple banner punch, but I find that I need to adjust my light a little bit because I can't see, y'all. It's getting dark in here. It's supposed to snow today. I hope it snows so we don't have to go to work next week. Don't tell my boss. But you could use your triple banner punch for this, but I feel like the scissors is just a lot easier and quicker for right now. So there you go. So all I did was I created a little flag by cutting in the center and then cutting from the corner, meeting to the center at a slant. Okay, so that's all the stamping that we're doing. That's all the cutting we're doing. Now it's time for us to assemble our card. So I'm going to take a little bit of our snail adhesive, and I'm going to, if I can pick it up off of my work surface, and I am going to apply a little bit snail onto the back. Oh no, I should have known that was going to happen because I don't have my project grid down. So of course there's ink all over my surface right now. So I'm going to have to wipe that off at some point. But there you go. You guys probably can't even tell. And then we're going to take a little bit of our snail and we're going to apply it to the back of this happy birthday, and we're going to line that little guy up like right here. Right along that bottom edge. Let me make sure I don't have more ink. Alright, and then we're just going to, you can pop this up with dimensionals if you want to get all a little more fancy with it. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my snail and I'm just going to attach this right on down. Boop, put one in the middle too. Attach that right in the center of my card. Boop, and there you go. I keep saying boop. There you go. 2 really pretty easy cards. Wasn't that fast? You can crank out a lot of these. Oh my goodness. This will make a really pretty gift set too. Like if you wanted to give somebody some happy birthday cards. And you could change up the colors too. Feel free to case these projects and use the inspiration to create your own projects. Let's move on to card number 2. That is this really pretty card right here. I'm so happy. I did really want to add some what you call those things, sequins on here, because that would, I love bling, y'all. Like if y'all can't tell from all the rest of my videos and my Facebook lives and stuff that I do, I love bling. I always try to bling stuff up, but I was trying to behave on this card and just make it super simple. But look how pretty this card is. And I popped up those flowers. So of course, just like in my last video, the first video in my series with Home to Roost, there's a little bit of fuzzy cutting because there is no die for this card, okay? But it's easy. Really only fuzzy cut easy images because I just can't, you know, I don't have the patience to do more intricate cuts. Like I just don't have time for that. All right, so before we begin, let me tell you what you're gonna need. I'm getting ahead of myself, y'all. So you are going to need a half sheet of cardstock in basic gray. So that's this is going to be our card base. I cut it in half, hamburger style. Then you're going to need a piece of Pool Party that measures 4 1/4 inches by 3. And then I have a piece of Whisper White that measures 4 inches by 2 3/4 inches. And then I have a little piece of scrap here. I even wrote scrap on there. So that way we can stamp our flowers onto and cut them out. All right. So starting out, we are going to do, we're going to flip that over first. We're going to do our stamping. So once again, I'm going to pull in my basic gray stamping pad. And then I'm going to kind of create this outline, the backdrop. Oh, yes, the backdrop. So we are, what am I doing? Ink to stamp, yo, ink to stamp. All right, so we're going to ink this little guy up just like this. I don't know why, but I ink up the whole stamp. I probably don't have to, but I guess it's better to be safe than not safe. All right, so we're going to stamp this little guy. We want to make sure we have our flower completely on the Whisper White. So you don't want to stamp it off to where you don't have the whole flower onto your cardstock. So I'm going to kind of push it up a little bit, but I'm also going to keep in mind that I need enough room to stamp my sentiment. All right, so that looks about right, like right about there. Yep, that's perfect. All right, and then we're going to take our sentiment. Thank you for all that you are and all that you do. And we're going to stamp that right next door to this flower, just like that. Isn't that pretty? Nice. Then we are going to do a little bit of stamping. I'm gonna move this down here. I got ink on my work surface. Probably should use a baby wipe, but whatever. It is what it is. We're going to fold our card base. And I don't know if you guys saw it, but I did a little bit of background stamping here. I think it adds a really nice touch to this card. So what I did was I folded my card, because if you don't fold your card, you're going to get the ink on both sides, okay? You're going to get the image to stamp on both sides. So I like to fold my card base. Make sure that it's creased pretty good. Ooh, I think I just like scratched some of my nail off. That's weird. But you want to make sure it's creased pretty good so that way it stays a little flat, okay? And then you're going to ink up your stamp. Let me make sure I can do this right. All right, and then you're going to have your card, even though our card is horizontal facing, I think that's the appropriate term for this. Even though it's horizontal, we're going to stamp these two flowers with the card being vertical, okay? And that's so that the flowers face the right direction, or the direction that I want them to. So once again, you're going to pay attention to make sure that flower is completely on the cardstock, and we're going to stamp it in the top corner, just like that. And then we're going to stamp it we're going to flip it upside down, and we're going to stamp it in the bottom right corner, just like that. Oh yeah. And you don't have to worry about the centerpiece because it's going to be covered anyway. Good to go on that, right? Any questions? No? Okay then, great. All right, so then we're going to put that stuff to the side, and now we are going to stamp our little flowers real quick. So we're going to stamp, okay, so we're going to stamp this particular flower here because there's one that looks just like the one we just stamped. And then I'm going to stamp this again, but I want just the flower itself, okay? So I'm going to ink this stamp up just where the flower is. And then I'm going to try to fit this as much as possible on the card, keeping some space. Woo. There we go. Oh no! Okay, so I gotta get another sheet. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna ink up the big flower again, just one more time, making sure that I get enough ink on the big flower itself. And then I'm going to stamp this bad boy right here on a piece of cardstock, just like that. Okay. Then I'm going to take this little guy, the little image, and I'm gonna stamp him on my piece of scrap as well. All right. Let's close up our ink. Put it to the side, and now we are going to color. Okay, so for the Stampin' blends that I use for this particular card, I used Pool Party, both the dark and the light. They can come in a combo, or you can get them individually. I would suggest you get the combo, just because it's always good to have the dark and the light. So I'm going to start off, let me sit down because I'm always standing up. I'm going to use my brush tip for this, and if you watched my last video in this series, I was doing some Stampin' blend coloring, and I mentioned that I am not a pro at alcohol markering, so I just wing it. So what I'm doing is I'm going in with this dark color of Pool Party where I think the shadows are. I'm gonna do both flowers, just like that, just like that. Okay, then I'm going to go in with my light Pool Party, and I'm just going to color it in and blend it out. It's really light. Here we go. Now I'm going to take my paper snips and I'm going to cut these flowers out. These images are very easy to fussy cut. I will try my best in the next video in the series to not have fussy cutting, okay? But sometimes it's inevitable, because I gotta make pretty cards. And sometimes fuzzy cutting is required. Boom, just like that. I'm gonna cut out this one too. All right, so now that we are done with that, now it is time for us to assemble our card, because we're done. So I'm going to take a little bit of my snail, and then we're going to attach our piece of Whisper White onto our pool party, making sure we get it as even as possible. There we go. And then we're going to apply snail to the back side of that, and we are going to attach that right there, just like that. Okay, then we're going to take some Stampin' Dimensionals. We'll take about 2, and we're going to pop our flowers up. So we're going to put 2 on the back of this little guy. I'm going to pop him right on up. Oops, just like that. And then we're going to place 1 on the back side of the little one, kind of like right off center, off onto the side, and we're going to just stick him like right here. Okay, and we're going to leave a little bit of room here for our ribbon. So the ribbon that I'm using for this card is called sheer ribbon. Is 1/8 of an inch, is approximately 10 yards on this roll. Okay, and it's really thin, as you can see. You see that? So I'm going to just take a little bit of this and I'm going to tie a bow. It's because y'all are watching. I'm struggling right now. I always keep the ribbon on the roll because I feel like I have less waste that way. There we go. All right. Oops. There we go. Then I'm going to take a little glue dot. And then place this little bow right underneath that flower, just like that. And here we have card number 2. All right, so this is the third and final card that we're going to create. Isn't it gorgeous? So this one actually has a little bit of big shot work. Okay, we have some more Stampin' Blend coloring, and there's a little bit more embellishing. I also had to kind of get a little fancy with the sentiment, so I'll show you exactly what I did, okay, in a moment. But let me tell you exactly what you're going to need, or what I used on this card. So first, you're going to need a piece of basic gray cardstock. This is half a sheet of cardstock cut in half. This measures 5.5 inches by 8.5 inches, and it's scored at 4 1/4 inches. So that's hamburger cut. Then I used a piece. Now this is a piece of Coastal Cabana, and let me tell you, I ran out of Pool Party. I was really sad when I went in there to go see if I had any more Pool Party. So this comes from the paper packs. They're 6x6, and it's the designer series paper for all of our color collection. Okay, so we have packs for each color collection that have different designs. They're double-sided, and they're like really simple designs. But this particular piece that I'm using on my card, you probably can't really even tell the difference. But this is Coastal Cabana. But on this card, I did use Pool Party. Okay, so it's supposed to be Pool Party. But this is the closest thing I could find, so we're going to use that. Okay, But this piece measures at 3 5/8 of an inch by 4 7/8 of an inch. You're going to need a piece of Whisper White cardstock that measures 3 3/4 of an inch by 5 inch, and this is actually going to go underneath here. The DSP is going to layer on top, so it's going to be a really thin layer that you see, as you can see here. Okay, just gives it a little bit more of a pop. You're going to need a piece of vellum that measures 2 3/4 of an inch by 3 1/2 inches. You're going to need a piece of basic gray. This measures 2 1/4 of an inch by 3 inches. And then we have a piece of Whisper White that measures 2 inches by 2 3/4 of an inch. Then you're going to need a piece of glimmer paper, and this is silver glitter or glimmer paper. Okay, I've gone ahead and done all of the big shot work for this, so I'm using the Celebrate You Thinlit dies. This is the item number, which I'll have this stuff linked down below too. But there's 3 pretty cool sentiments that come in this. Okay, so you have Celebrate, you have You, and then you have the Amazing. I cut the Amazing out of the glimmer paper. And then I am also using another stamp from a different set, okay? And that is because I was looking for one that said You Are. And this comes from the Forever Lovely stamp set. There it is. I was looking for it. So there's this gorgeous stamp set that we have in our new 2019 Occasions catalog, and it's very like love themed, Valentine themed, or women themed, whatever you want to create. But this is where I pulled the You Are from, and as you can see, it's a full sentiment. It says You Are Loved, but I had to cut off the love because I just wanted the You Are part. I'll show you how I did that in a moment. All right, so now that you know everything that you're gonna need as far as cardstock, let's go ahead and begin creating this card. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just attach all of my layers. So I'm going to first, I'm going to take my piece of Whisper White, but before I do that, oh goodness, I forgot to fold my card base just like that. And we're going to center our card base right on top of this. Actually, I want to do it on this side. We're going to center our card base. My score line was a little bit off, so I'll hide the offness to the back. Just a little bit. That's kind of crooked. You guys might hear my daughter in the background. She's being very vocal. You can use either side. I was actually torn between which side to use. I actually might use the striped side this time. So, it's a great thing about double-sided paper. Like, if you don't like one side, you can always use the other. But I like both of these sides, and it's really hard to pick which one I want to use. But I'm going to use the stripe for this particular one. Just like that. And that's off a little bit, but it's okay. It's okay, it's okay. All right, so there we go. So we got that part. Then you're going to take your vellum piece, and I'm going to take a couple of strips of my snail. I'm going to center that right here on my card base as well. Just like that. And you want to make sure when you use the snail, or if you're using glue dots, whatever adhesive you're using, you want to make sure that it's kind of close to the center when you're using vellum, because you can't see sometimes the adhesive through your vellum sheet, okay, and it can show on the front of your project, so you want to just be mindful of that. Then I am going to sit our card base to the side, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to attach my piece of Whisper White to my piece of basic gray, just like that. All right, so for our stamping, there is another little flower in that stamp set. It looks just like this. It's this little guy, and then we're going to pull in those little leaves with the bulbs on them again. All right, and then we have the You Are Loved, and I think that's all you're going to need as far as stamping. So the first thing I did is I stamped my sentiment first, and the reason why I did that is because I needed to gauge where I wanted the amazing at, and I wanted to be able to have it in a place where it wouldn't be covered by the floral images. Okay, so how I got the You Are off of this is all I did is I took my basic gray ink There's probably an easier way to do this, like probably using a sticky note, but I can't find any of my sticky notes. I think my daughter took them somewhere. And I don't know if you guys can see that very well, but I kind of have it, half of the stamp hanging off. Okay, so when I'm inking this up, all I'm going to do is I'm going to only press the area where I need the ink. So if you don't have a sticky note, this is what you do. Okay, and I'm just going to tap, tap, tap a little lightly, make sure I get it evenly covered, and then I'm going to come back kind of like with my finger a little bit, and I'm going to try to get some of the ink off of the, I know there's some probably on there, but it'll be all right. Okay, and then we're going to take, let me get my foam mat. Since it's photopolymer, I'm using my foam mat. I'm going to take this little guy and I am going to line it up. Just like this. Try to get it as straight as possible. There we go. Perfect. Isn't that awesome? So I got the UR. Another easy way that you could probably do this, which I don't have the marker, but we have Stampin' Right markers, and they have a brush tip on the end. That probably would be like the easiest way for you to do that. So you'll take the brush tip in, and you can just color where you want the letters to be colored at. Okay, because these don't just color as markers. You can use them for ink on your projects as well. But I don't have that color, so I'm gonna have to ask my husband for some more money. All right, so now we got that. Okay, and it's in the perfect spot because I put my amazing down, so that way I knew kind of like where to judge to put this. All right, so now we're going to take our flowers and we're going to stamp them all over this piece. They're going to be all overlapping. Odd numbers, y'all, odd numbers. Then we're going to take our little leaf part and we're going to stamp that little guy on here too. All over. Let's put one down here. We're going to put one here. Put one here. Okay, there we go. Perfect. Now we're going to take our Stampin' blends one more time and we're going to color it in. So once again, you're going to take your dark. We're going to go around. You just have to focus on the one that's actually on the Whisper White. You don't have to focus on the one that's like on the part that's off on the basic gray. So what I did for this is I just went in a circle. I just did a real quick brush around the outline and then colored in the center, just like that. Probably could leave it like that. That looks pretty too, the way it is. Then I'm going to come in with my light and I'm just going to color it in, blend it in, do a little bit of blending so that line doesn't look as noticeable. Okay, there we go. Oh yeah. All right. Close up our ink pad. And then we're going to attach this little guy on top of our vellum. Try to get it lined up as best as possible. Just like that. And then we're going to take our glue and we're going to, you probably can sponge the back of this. I need to get a sponge dauber to do this, but I have a little sponge. It's my nasty glue sponge. And then what I like to do is, once you run this through your Big Shot, you'll make sure that you have all of the dots poked out. You could use our multi-purpose glue sheets, all right, adhesive sheets. We have those, so when you cut it out, it'll be like a sticker. That might be a little easier. But if you don't have those, you can use glue and just sponge it onto the back of your project. So I'm going to take a little bit of my Tombow Now I'm gonna apply the glue onto here with my sponge. Making sure I try to sponge it as well as I can. Okay, there we go. And then we're going to attach that right onto our project. Just like that. That does the trick. It doesn't take that long to dry either, so that's pretty awesome. So it says, "You are amazing." How cool is that, y'all? It's cool. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to embellish with some of our iridescent sequin assortment. There is some pool party looking sequins in this little pack, so I'm going to put about 5 of them around this. So I'm going to use my fine tip glue pen, which is great for sequins. Okay, so I'm going to put a few dots on here of glue sporadically throughout the card, just like that. So I'll put about 5. Told y'all odd numbers. And I'm gonna make sure I close this up real quick. And then I'm gonna take my Take Your Pick tool, which is really awesome. I love this thing. So this is like the Swiss Army knife of like crafting. Like there's so many different ends on this thing. So you got like a pokey tool on one end, you got a spatula, you have a putty, and then there's even another little piece. I'm gonna show you this, like here, like it's a stylus, like the thing for that you use to score on your scoring board. So there's 2 different sizes of that. And then, like I said, there's a putty end, which it actually comes with a replacement. But the putty on this end lets you pick up sequins with ease, so you don't have to use your fingers or your nails or your pokey tool or your teeth. It just, I don't know. Some people do some weird things. So we're just going to go in and pick out the sequins that we want, which is awesome. So we're going to put like a big eye up here. We're gonna, and they're different sizes too, by the way, if you didn't know. Actually, I think that's a green one. Is that a green one? Nope, that's a blue one. That's perfect. All right, so we're gonna just go through and pick up some various sizes and place them on those little glue dots. And it doesn't take that long for it to dry, which is pretty awesome. We want a little tiny baby one. Let's put a little tiny baby one right there. And then we want like a medium sized one on this one. Boop. Just like that. And then you just sit it to the side, let it dry for a minute or 2, and then you should be able to manipulate your card because all of those things are dry. So how cute! So stinking adorable. I love it. So here's card number 3. Clear off my desk so you guys can see. Here's card number 2. And here's card number 1. How awesome. All right, so these are the cards that we created today for the series, and just as promised, I do have some additional some inspiration for you. So this is another card that I created using the stamp set. It's got some shimmer paint on there, the frost white, some embellishing, some more Stampin' blend coloring. How pretty, right? Here's another one. This is using gray granite, and of course there's some more Stampin' blend coloring. There's some Wink of Stella thrown on those flowers. There's some punching going on. All right, and then this is the other one. I don't have a watercolor one yet, not yet, but it's coming. This is another one that I created, and I thought this was really, really pretty. It uses some background stamping. There's some splattering with my Stampin' Right marker in basic black, and of course some more bling coloring. All right, so there's some inspiration for you guys. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you liked it, be sure to give me a thumbs way up. I hope you guys fall in love with this stamp set just as much as I'm in love with it. You can find all of the information, as I mentioned earlier, down below in the description box regarding any of the products that you saw that I used today to create these projects. Those links will take you straight over to my online store where you can place an order. Thank you guys for supporting my business in the meantime. Also, don't forget that if you do place an order and it's $50 or more before shipping and tax, you will qualify to receive free celebration items. Okay, so don't forget to put those items in your cart before you check out. All right, be sure to subscribe to my channel to stay up to date on all things Stampin' Up! And the Craft Sergeant Studio, and to receive notifications on all of the video tutorials that I upload. But other than that, that's all I got for you guys for now. So see you next time. Thanks for watching and happy stamping.